Though we think we know Lindsay, I couldn't believe that it's been over a year since you've been with us.
Year and a half, yeah. I
It's November 2022, is that right?
think that's when they named me. I started.
Okay. So you came from Fire Island National Scenic or Seashore, where you served as deputy superintendent since 2020. Oh my goodness, that was in the midst of the pandemic. That was good fun. Came to the job from International Park, where you served as chief. Administration and business management. Began your career in 2010 as a management analyst for the business management group in Washington, D.C. And she holds a master's degree in environmental management and a master of public policy from Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, and a bachelor of science in biology from Boston College. Originally came from right here in New York State. And of course, you got her baby Park Service, love the outdoors. Anything you'd like to add to your bio?
No, I was not expecting you to cover all that ground again. It's a nice blast from the past. Remember where I came from. Thank you. So yes, thank you so much for having me. As Janie said, I'm Lindsay Kurnath. I am the superintendent of our Delaware Scenic and Recreational River. I do have, it looks like I wondered how much public we're gonna have. I do have some background as part of this, but it's mostly people who know us very well in this room. But I am gonna give a little bit of background about the river tonight. But the request to give this presentation to talk about actually our staffing and how that meets our vision for the corridor. That came in all the way back in January, which is crazy. It took this long to get us on the agenda, but here we are finally in July. So I'm really excited to get to talk to you guys about this tonight. I have practiced this and I keep 30 minutes. So I'm going to try and get through it faster so I can see what kind of questions you guys have for me. But the request Lori sent through asked to cover a lot of ground. So hopefully I get at what you guys wanted to hear from me tonight. And with that, let's see if the faded clicker works for me. It's doing it? Okay, cool. So topics for today. So 4 big topics. How can it possibly take me 30 minutes? But we're going to cover, who we are and what is the National Park Service. And what drives what we do, right? What underpins our vision for what it is we're trying to accomplish here. And then what do we hope to accomplish? The team that you've got on the ground today, what is it that we're trying to do? Then get into how we're structured. And I'm going to close it out with some NPS hiring tips. Because there were some questions about how our staffing works, when positions are advertised, that sort of thing. So that is the agenda for today. And so we're going to start with who we are and what we do. So why is the National Park Service in your backyard? Anyone who's attended our roadshow thus far will recognize the following sentences. But just to remind everybody, the Congress designated the 73.4 miles from Hancock to just below the number 2 railroad bridge in Sparrowbush as the Upper Delaware Scenic and Recreational River in 1978. We are protected under the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, and we are managed as a unit of the National Park System. But our unique snowflake quality, because each National Park Service unit has one, our unique snowflake thing is that we are fundamentally a collaboration. So our enabling legislation says that the Secretary of the Interior is responsible for this corridor, the 55,574.5 acres that go around those 73.4 miles of river. But we are doing that from the jump with the Delaware River Basin Commission, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the state of New York, and the 15 local municipal municipalities. So we are just fundamentally a partnership from the beginning because of how all we were created. I'm going to leave out the bit about Tox Island Dam and all that because we all know that in this room. So, and to shave off a few minutes, I'm just going to keep rolling. So the following is the mission statement that is in, I believe, our foundation document. So it says the Upper Delaware Scenic and Recreational River protects, conserves, and enhances the free-flowing character, exceptionally high water quality, and the scenic, recreational, ecological, cultural, and geologic, parentheses, those are ORVs, our outstanding remarkable values, of the Upper Delaware River Valley through collaborative partnerships and cooperation with the state and the local governments. So that is why we're here. and ultimately what we're charged with doing in partnership with all of you. So, moving into also what drives us and kind of what our current vision is. That part of this, the genesis of this presentation comes from this middle document, the 5-year strategic action plan. You can't really see it on there. It says 2020 to 2024. So that was completed in 2019, right before the pandemic, right as Chris Heister was leaving. So you've had a few superintendent changes since then, quite a few staffing changes, and the world changed, and a lot of things slowed down and we weren't able to get a lot of things done that were in this action plan. But that was one of the first documents I spent a lot of time with when I started this position, same with the river management plan. So I just wanted to put all these documents up here because you're not, I don't think, gonna see anything particularly new, because the Park Service is in the forever business. We're not supposed to just be able to change like a sailboat, right? We're supposed to, anybody coming in, or at least I approach a superintendency as it's not my job to like change the colors of everything and like change, it's more to steady the ship and move us forward in the direction we are already headed in. So that's why sharing with you are all these other documents that we rely on, and kind of just an example, right? There's many, many more planning documents that have been created, many other things I've read over the last year and a half of getting up to speed. But these are some of the big ones from which we pulled themes in order to be able to talk to you about what it is we are hoping to do over the next several years and what we're using as goalposts. So again, with this action plan effectively sunsetting this year, we being our park management team, which we'll get to when we do the work chart, we went back and looked at that action plan, and it was 300, 400 something items, individual line items that we were going to do over that 4 or 5 year period. And we went through and tried to catalog, okay, what did we get done? What do we still want to do? What isn't really relevant anymore? So we really took that and used that to inform what we're calling like a 1-year vision document, sort of, or a goal setting document. So it's going to take more time, and we're going to need a lot of input from all of you to figure out what the next 5-year plan looks like. Or maybe it's a 3-year plan, maybe it's a 10-year plan. I truly don't know. We're going to work on that this fall. But in the interim, we came up with this, we just updated our vision and distilled down a few key goals that we want to share with you that are driving where we're going right now. And we did that. I see Don, I thought I saw Don on the phone. He helped before he retired. So that's Ingrid Peterick. She obviously has been helping too, is a huge part of our management team. So with that, we're done with section 1 and moving into section 2 of what we're hoping to accomplish. So this is the vision statement that we're working on. So the Upper Delaware Scenic and Recreational River is recognized as a unit of the National Park System with unparalleled resource quality, sustained through collaboration with dedicated partner stewards. So that is what we're using as like our vision statement today. And to me, a vision statement is only useful, like how am I going to know, or how are we going to know if we're moving our way towards our vision? So then we came up with these outcomes. So I think the vision and the vision statement and the outcomes tie together, because these are the things we want to see to ensure towards that vision. So the first is that we, as a national park unit, are investing in strategic partnerships. We're being thoughtful about where we're putting our limited resources. That our local community and all of our partners understand and positively value the protection of the river. So that's another outcome that we're looking for out there to see if we're doing the job we intend to do. And then lastly, we as the National Park Service staff and all of our partners, including you, are leveraging our resources to promote and protect the river's ORVs. All those ones I listed off before. So what are we doing as a whole community? How are we adding value to this whole corridor and this system to make sure that we're ultimately doing the thing that Congress told us to do, which was to make sure that none of those ORVs or our water quality are ever degraded? So those are the things, the overall outcome, that's our vision. Those are, and we're gonna know we're meeting our vision if these outcomes are kind of happening, we hope. So from there, we distill down into 4 focus areas and goals. And I did write myself some notes, but I didn't forget to tell you guys these. So, that's that. Okay. So I'm just gonna blow through these and then we'll get to the staffing. Okay, so cooperative management. So what does that mean? That comes to identifying our short and our long-term partner stewards. And again, that strategic investment of all of our time and resources. So here are the outcomes, here are the things that we're hoping we achieve through our cooperative management. We want to be doing joint planning and project development. I already talked investing our limited resources, but we're hoping to help achieve the vision and our park goals. We have a clear understanding of expectations and responsibilities on each side. So why is somebody coming to the Park Service? What are they hoping for? And what are we able to give back to them in return? And then also using varied methods to welcome the community and promote all of our ORBs. So all different ways of communicating with folks. Our community engagement, so this gets to increasing awareness of the river as a national park unit and why is the National Park Service here at all. So our outcomes here are that visitors will hopefully know that they're in a national park unit. The communities will actively communicate with us as the National Park Service as well as the UDC. And then the public has accurate, helpful information where and when they need it, wherever they are in the corridor. And then lastly, this one is more internal. The Park Service is having a really big push about our internal culture right now and what we're doing to be a welcoming environment that's more reflective of the nation as a whole. So this goal is probably a little less relevant to all of you, but I hope that some of these things also do carry over to the community that the Upper Delaware Council is hoping to create and the community that we're showing to all of our partners. Hopefully you're going to see us, our goal is that you see us finding creative, sustainable ways to accomplish our work. We're developing our skills to better communicate, understand, and work together. Individually, we hold ourselves accountable and empower others to make decisions. Everyone understands why decisions are made and how all those decisions tie back to what it is we're trying to accomplish. We can attract and retain a talented workforce, and we all feel connected and informed no matter where we work and where we spend our day along that 73.4 miles per hour. Okay, so that is what we're hoping to accomplish. I'm just going to keep rolling. So how we're structured. So this was kind of I flipped what you guys asked for, right? You asked for what's your staffing look like and how's it helping you accomplish your stuff. So I told you first kind of what we're trying to accomplish, and now I'm going to tell you how we're staffed. So hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. And I'm going to start with this guy. So this is our ONPS. So this is what our operational funding, our base budget. This is the ONPS is the appropriation we get from Congress. That's the operations of the National Park System account. This isn't just adjusted. This starts in 1999 and it takes you through 2023. We've adjusted it all the way back to $1999. So don't go talk to anybody about how we only got 2.1 million in 2023. We actually got 3.8 million from ONPS, from the National Park Service, or from Congress, excuse me, in 2023. But adjusted for inflation, that's only $2.1 million today. So back in 99, we had 2.5, and $99, that's 2.1, what we got today. We had 35 full-time equivalents. So that's not total head count. So when we have two seasonals, that equals 1 FTE, right? So head count versus FTE is a little different. We were able to afford 35 FTE back in 1999, and today for almost the same, basically the equivalent amount of money, we can only afford 23 FTE. And that will tell you this tracks with the entire National Park Service budget. This is basically what's happening across the service, that we're not seeing fixed cost increases. So adjusting for inflation and just how expensive we continue to get as a workforce. Congress is not funding those increases, so we're having to absorb each one of them. And that has led to us having effectively less money and less people. Yeah. So just some other things on this chart. I can't explain, I have no idea. Maybe Al can tell us what happened in 2007, maybe afterwards in the Q&A. I have no idea why this is only showing like 15 FTE in 2007. Don't know what happened. I can tell you here, 2008, 9, 10, where it looks like we were doing pretty well. So it's a great recession. And inflation was basically non-existent for those years. So we were getting because of the administration's Recovery Act at the time, we were getting slight operational increases. But then what happened is Congress said, no. And then this was sequestration. So it was automatic unless, I'm probably gonna get this wrong. I should double check the facts on this one. But unless Congress could come to an agreement on spending less, they had all agreed these automatic spending cuts were gonna go into effect in 2012, 2013. So that's what happened. So we were doing pretty good. We made it through the recession and then boom, we dropped back down. As you can see, it's not really gotten better. So that's just kind of a state of our budget. Carly really wanted me to go back to 1986 or 88 so we could compare, but this is basically as far back as I could go. So, that is a moving. Okay. So there's a picture of all of us. This was us on our Food Safety Health Wellness Awareness Day. So now we're going to move into how we're actually structured. So this is overall what our org chart looks like. I'm the superintendent. I've got a few positions that report to me. But then I have the 5, we call them division chiefs, program managers, whatever you want to call them, but the 5 different program areas. So I'm going to walk you through each one. And part of why I have my notes is that I'm going to read you in their words what each of our division chiefs, how they would describe their program. Also, just a caveat on the org charts I'm going to show you. These are basically what we have right now. I would say they kind of vary a little bit, like the number of seasonals and the more temporary positions can shift from year to year. But so we can talk every year about what our staffing numbers look like if that's something you guys want, but just know that this is like both, it's pretty close to reality, but like just a touch. I don't know that we have exactly all the boxes for our seasonal intern rangers, for instance. So don't, just a little caveat. So we're going to start with our administrative division. So as administrative officer, that's Tara Harbert. You guys don't see her very often because she's duty stationed in Ohio. So we bring her in a few times a year, but she's phenomenal. Hope if you haven't had the chance to meet her yet, I'm trying to figure out how to get her here in person to meet all of you, but she's great. And then this is her staff underneath her. In Tara's words, the administration division exists to support all park operations, divisions, and employees. Primary functions include overall budget tracking and execution, expense reconciliation, staff payroll and programming, hiring and onboarding support, property and fleet management, travel assistance, and IT management and support. The administrative division also manages the park CUA program and our special use permits program. So that is what this mighty team does. Some other navigation as we work our way through the slides here. So the blue boxes are generally going to be permanent positions or long-term positions. Orange, I'm going to ask you to hold the questions on orange. There'll be a big reveal at the end. And then I also tried to indicate for you kind of this starts soon. So this was Debbie Siebold's position. She just retired June 28th, 29th. And we actually have somebody starting in about a month. So it's been hired. So that's what the yellow start soon means. We've hired somebody, they're starting. And then the green, which says vacant, is that is an upcoming job announcement that you're going to see hopefully soon. And then we did take a minute to highlight just who our partners are that are associated with kind of each one of our programs. So when we talk about cooperative management, each one of our programs within the park is using some relationship to extend our reach into the community. So the ones for our administrative division, I would say our CUA holders, special use permits, permittees. Not sure some of our CUA holders in the room today feel like we're partners today, but I hope so. Hope we get back there. So next, moving into the facilities management or our maintenance division. So this is Jessica Wyman. She's our chief of maintenance. And this is what her staff looks like. She's got a facility services assistant starting soon. That is that carpenter that's like computers that we were recruiting for a few months ago. And then we've kind of got our maintenance crew at the bottom. This year we were able to hire that purple box, the seasonal maintenance worker, which was a change for us from the past few years and seems to be going really well. So in Jessica's words, the general duties of the maintenance staff are to perform operational tasks such as grounds maintenance, custodial, snow removal, and water sampling. They're responsible for general maintenance activities as well, such as painting, trail repairs, building maintenance, etc. The division helps the park accomplish goals by providing proper and safe infrastructure for employees and visitors. So yeah, we have 2 positions starting soon here. Another orange mystery box. And the partners here, you know, when we came and talked to you guys about the accesses, right? DEC, one of our big partners with the maintenance division, PA Fish and Boat, another big partner. So these partner lists are not all inclusive. They're just giving you an idea of kind of who each of or which of the programs are really working with. Moving on to interpretation and education. This is what our interpretation division looks like. So in Ingrid's words, this division is responsible for providing information to park visitors. This can be done through personal contact with rangers in the field or on the river, social media outreach, website content, billboards and waysides, junior ranger programs, educational programming, and special event program. In addition, the division is responsible for the Parks Volunteer and Parks program, though volunteers can be found in all divisions of our river staff. So here you see like the most number of purple boxes you're gonna see. That's because Ingrid has the most seasonal staff. What you don't see on here is it's supplemented by volunteers. And we do have an internship program. And I do want to just call out that the volunteer ambassador, that's in we put the non-permanent positions in the dotted line boxes and also tried to indicate where we have people doing long-term jobs. So our volunteer ambassador is Corinne Hinton. She's fantastic. And then Jasmine Long is our visual information specialist who's on a 4-year term, again in an orange mystery box. And they're both phenomenal additions to the team. Some of the partners in interpretation. Maybe, okay, thank you. Delaware Highlands Conservancy, they're a big partner in the Winter Eagle Watch program. NCSP, National Canoe Safety Patrol, Pike County, and just generally all the people that volunteer, wear watchers, people out, count life jacket wearing, all that stuff. Approaching the end, natural and culture resource management. So, as you guys know, this position is vacant right now. This was Don Hamilton but it was formerly the chief of natural resource management. So we have formally with this most recent hire consolidated that into both natural and culture resource management. This team are basically our scientists. They're the ones doing the work, doing the science so that we have all the data to make the management decisions we need to make sure that we're doing right by all of our legal requirements of the National Environmental Protection Act, National Historic Preservation Act, et cetera. As well as making sure we have the data we need to ensure our ORVs are not degraded or harmed in any way. So I shared at the WORM meeting, we have identified an incoming chief of resource management. It's on the monthly activity report for this week as well. So I'm breaking my rule of telling you people's names before they arrive, but his name is Tom Kearns. He's coming to us from Great Basin National Park. He's an archaeologist. He's been at Great Basin at least 10 years. I think he's going to be a great addition to our team. He's going to bring in a lot of culture resource expertise that we don't necessarily have, or an area where we can certainly get stronger. But he's also, being an archaeologist, he's used to being out in the field. And he's originally from Iowa and grew up, I think, next to Mississippi. So he's really excited to come back and be on the river. He's tired of the desert. So he will be starting in September and we're super excited to have him. The other thing I'll call out here is that a big bunch of important partners here, a lot of people helping us get our research done. Part of Alex Garcia's position, the Culture Resource Program Manager, he is our primary liaison with all of our tribal groups. So that is another area where we are actively trying to better engage as partners to meet our mission and make sure we're as welcoming as possible and meeting our requirements to do tribal consultation as well. Last but not least, visitor and resource protection. So this is our law enforcement program. In Keith's words, the Upper Delaware Rangers provide law enforcement and emergency services to protect people, the park resources, and shared heritage throughout the corridor in coordination with local, state, and federal agencies with similar interests. Park operations are supported by the superintendent's compendium, the Code of Federal Regulations, the CFR, and assimilated state law. So you can see all the bunch of the partners there that law enforcement works with daily, the troopers, Pennsylvania State Police, DEC, Fish and Boat, the sheriff, the constable, local fire and EMS. And, you know, they're out there, really kind of our face out there in the community. And then other positions, this is a smaller looking, so you've got Carly who reports to me, the community planner, primary liaison, to you guys and everybody out in the community. Really keeping tabs on the way that we use the river management plan and this whole partnership to use local zoning to meet our mission within the corridor. And then we have this agreements assistant, which is going to be a 2-year term, which is also vacant. So now we're going to talk about the mystery orange boxes. So these are all IRA funded positions. That's the Inflation Reduction Act.
Oh.
So, I pulled out a quote from our comptroller to make sure I said everything that they wanted me to say about this correctly. So this historic funding surge was to support additional park employees, and it represents a substantial opportunity to invest in the future of parks. These funds provide a temporary surge to support additional employee capacity at eligible parks. These surge funds are expected to complement, not replace, the permanent programmatic base increase requests that are outlined each year in our budget request, the Green Book. These funds are not a permanent base operating increase for parks. Rather, they're a one-time opportunity to support additional park employees in key areas that would have a defined period of performance and relate to a core park purpose. So all these orange boxes are relevant because if you guys feel like, gosh, it feels like Lindsay's just hiring new positions and people. The reason is I had to, because we got 1.3 million, I think, through these IRA funds that had to be spent within 5 years. And they all had to be new positions on the org chart. So they all had to be new boxes, which is a little confounding when you don't have enough to support all the positions that you really want, but you've got to come up with new ones. But it was a great opportunity for us. So they said we had our visual information specialist, that's Jasmine. She's been doing a phenomenal job of that. So the need there was that we saw we really wanted to, our website was languishing, our social media presence was languishing. We just didn't feel like we were getting information out there, given the way people absorb information today. So that's been a big push. Big thing that Jasmine's going to be focused on. This November will be 1 year. And then we'll see how many more years we can get out of her. But that one will sunset within 4 years. And the idea was she gets stuff to a new place where we can maintain it with our existing staff. So that position will go away. Same with the agreements assistant. Over here, this 2-year term. We have realized that for a variety of reasons, a lot of like all of our agreements on the accesses, we just have like a whole lot of paperwork that we have to get updated. So what we're going to do is use an agreements assistant to come in, help us as we've cataloged and kind of determined who we want to be investing with, have that position help us really get all the paperwork in order. So we're thinking that'll be a 2-year position. The administrative support assistant, that doesn't say term because for better or worse, Joe, the last superintendent, eliminated the superintendent secretary position. When Bonnie Sheard retired, he chose not to refill it. So that box disappeared from the org chart when I walked in. And let me tell you, I need help. I need an admin assistant. I need all of that. So I guess I'm glad he made that decision because now I get to bring it back and we'll pay for it on these funds for 4 years. And then I will figure out how to make it work within the rest of our allocation. And then we have the seasonal maintenance worker. And I think I am like swiftly approaching 30 minutes. So just real quick on NPS hiring tips and kind of the mechanics of how some of our hiring works. Okay, so this is a screen grab of our National Staffing Office Twitter page. So there's a few reasons that I picked out a Twitter post for you. The first is that following us on social media, whether it's us at Upper Delaware or the National Staffing Office, is actually a great way for people to get information on our jobs. Unfortunately, we're not the best at really getting information out there, and it's often hard for us to cross post on other normal sites like Indeed and things like that. So there's a couple things, of course, you can't see, but up at the top, so this shows like when our park ranger positions for last year were posted. You can't see it, but if you look at it, it says October 10th of 2023. So if you want to work for us, for basically any national park unit next summer, you have to know this October, which is kind of insane. When I was at the point of life when I might want a seasonal job, there was no way I was thinking about it in October. So, I wanted to point that out to people. Secondly, a lot of our positions now are subject to applicant limits. They say they're going to be open for X number of days, they might close early. Like if we get 200 people who apply within the first day, which has happened, they close. So, being aware of when things come open is a good tidbit for people. Another crazy thing I think about applying for federal jobs is that you need to put the dates you worked in a job as well as the hours per week you worked. I don't know what other field you have to write that you actually worked 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. It's just us. And people forget it and they get disqualified all the time. So again, you've got it on the National Staffing Office Twitter feed. You've got it. This is a screen grab from USA Jobs. So just if you know of anybody that's applying for a federal job, tell them it's going to seem weird, but put the number of hours you worked that job per week on your resume. Otherwise, it might not get through. And then lastly, again, so that people don't miss when jobs become available for us. You can go to USA Jobs and in the Help Center, it shows you how to set up a safe job search. So you could get any job that's open in Pennsylvania, any job open in the National Park Service, any engineering job, any, I don't know, name it. Name what you're interested in. And you can get an automatic email. You can get an email every time a new job is posted. You can get a digest, you get whatever. But those are some great ways to just be aware, particularly of these jobs that like can get 200 applicants in the first day. Getting some kind of notification so somebody doesn't feel like they missed out. So those are some of our tips and tricks of applying for jobs with us. And that's what I had. So thank you for having me. I am happy to take questions.
I just have
Yeah.
one question.
Yeah.
Under the interpretive boxes,
Mhm.
there were seasonal and then there were part-time.
Oh, yeah.
What's the difference between one and the other? Like how long is a part-time interpretive ranger work for?
Yeah, they work all year, they are a permanent position that works all year round. But they work 30 hours a week or less, I believe.
Oh, so it's up like they don't go away for 2
No.
months. Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't understand what the difference between that and seasonal.
Yeah, but the seasonals come in and they
Yeah.
work,
That was-
but it's a special appointment that you can only work 1,039 hours in a 6-month period, every 12 months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird.
You can't be seasonal on 2 parts.
Exactly.
That's too bad.
Yeah, you used to be able to, but they changed that in 2018. It's a bummer.
Somebody else?
2 questions unrelated to each other. The agreements assistant, that 2-year position, would that be the UDC NPS cooperative agreement covered under that too, or will that be done in-house kind of?
Maybe, I mean, we have to work on that now, and I was hoping this position was gonna be hired by now to help with that. And that doesn't seem, it's not the case, right? I know I'm somewhere on the list. But
For our agreement that ends at the end of the
Right.
calendar year, you
Right.
probably have to get
right,
a
Right.
larger head start on that. So-
yeah, but once that person starts, maybe there's gonna be a way to integrate them. I mean, like your guys' agreement is so different and so important to everything else we do. That's kind of, I'm thinking about like the agreements for the accesses, right?
Sure.
And that's the
Smaller
only one,
things.
yeah, that's the only one that's coming to mind right now. The radio towers, that's another one. Pennsylvania State Police has been waiting on an agreement from us to have space on their tower to have our dispatch operations and just like can't get to the paperwork to get it done. So your agreement is more important. I hate to say that, but it's reality. It's more important in the grand scheme of all of them. And it's those other
Bigger
ones.
piece, isn't it,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
And secondly, you mentioned when you were going over the maintenance that water sampling is their duty. I would think that would be under natural resources. It's not. I didn't realize that the facilities people are the ones going out there and.
Well, it's actually both. We do water sampling for different reasons in both. So to have a potable water supply in our buildings, we have to do sampling of our wells and that kind of thing, right? So that's that's the kind of sampling that our maintenance staff does. But you're absolutely right, that our biologists and ecologists, they go out and do water sampling for like DRBC, special protection waters. So, but actually, like we're running low on staff in the resource management team, so I think like the maintenance staff are jumping in to help them because, yeah, they do different kinds of sampling. But it's all kind of the same,
Oh, I see.
same but different.
Are all the positions filled, the ones in the purple box, seasonal, certain things, and protection measures?
They're all filled this year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we actually did really well this year. Which is great.
And that's what you said, it are 23 full-time equivalent right now this year, as of this moment.
I think actually we'll see, because we were able to fill so many seasonal positions this year. I think actually our FTE, those numbers were from 23.
Okay.
So I have to use. Supposed to use only the numbers that were released in the most recent budget request. So the 2025 budget request, which is with Congress right now, uses 2023 numbers. So, I mean, I can like tell you like kind of unofficially.